What's up, guys? This is the Kimit The Frg YouTube channel, back with another video. Now today's video is going to be a review on the newly released Spider-Man fan film entitled Spider-Man Lotus. Now this is a very hyped up fan film that's been in the works for about 7 years. Though about a year ago it's come into a bit of controversy as the director and the lead actor have been exposed as racists. So basically leading up to its release, and at its release people were kind of just shitting on it, but I decided to watch it for myself to see if this condemnation was deserved. So before I get into my thoughts on this film, I'm gonna briefly describe to you what the plot is. So the plot of this film is that Spider-Man fights some guys and he's late to the movie or something. And then his girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, dies, and he has to cope with this, and he copes with this, I guess, by pushing people away and retiring as Spider-Man until he meets this terminally ill child who's a big Spider-Man fan. And he decides to become Spider-Man again because people need to look up to him even if he doesn't look up to himself, I guess. So that's basically the plot. So getting into my starting thoughts with this film, it's way too long. The story it tells does not need 2 hours to be told. Many of the scenes are just take way too long to provide the necessary information. Most of the scenes could have been shortened significantly. The 2-hour runtime really just wasn't justified on this film. In terms of looks, I guess it looks fine. This is it had quite a bit of money thrown at it for a fan film, so I mean, I would expect it to not look too bad, and it doesn't, so I guess that's all fine in that department. I mean, it's not like there's a lot of action going on like you would expect in a Spider-Man film. There's a small action scene at the beginning, but then the main event, the main action scene that's implied, where Spider-Man's girlfriend dies and he kills the Green Goblin, that's all exposition shown through comic panels in the opening title sequence. So there's not really a lot of action. It's mostly just people talking. Yes, it's more of a drama. Peter Parker barely ever shows up as Spider-Man. He's just there talking or something. As for the accusations of racism from the director and the actor who plays Peter Parker, I haven't really looked into much of what they've said. But through watching the film, I can't really, it didn't really strike me the same way as I don't know, Birth of a Nation did when I watched that. Alright, so final thoughts for this film. It's way too long. The story is fine, I guess. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's serviceable, I guess. I probably wouldn't watch it again. Maybe if I was more into the Spider-Man mythos, or maybe if I was more familiar with the comic that this film is apparently loosely adapting, maybe I'd have more to say about it, or would be more critical of it. But just as watching it as I am, it's kind of whatever in my opinion. Not the worst thing I've seen ever, probably not even the worst thing I saw that day, but certainly not the best thing I've seen. If I were to give this film a rating, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 10. Yeah. Now, another film I watched recently was the 2014 film Bigfoot versus D.B. Cooper. This film, like Spider-Man Lotus, is available for free on YouTube. You can just search it up on YouTube and find the full thing there. So I watched it, and I gotta say, this is probably the worst movie I've genuinely ever seen in my life. It was fucking horrible. It was dog shit. Alright, this movie is like an hour and 16 minutes long. They legitimately could have cut out like 95% of what would happen, and the story would be completely the same. This movie starts off with a fucking 11-minute opening scene of a shirtless guy walking through the woods, and Bigfoot, just like POV shots of Bigfoot looking at him. It was fucking terrible. The acting in this movie is fucking atrocious. It's literally like porn acting. The house that it mostly takes place in looks like a porn studio house. I'd expect to see some woman getting raw dogged on the fucking staircase or something. All the characters in this movie are shirtless for some reason. They're all buff, shirtless men with giant fucking bulges that you can see. There's literally a scene in this movie that went on for like 2 minutes of Bigfoot holding his hand in front of one of the guy's chest as the camera was positioned under his legs, and his fucking bulge was literally just right in your face. You could literally make out his individual testicles. It was just like that exposed like that. It was ridiculous. Most of the scenes in this movie are way too long. Like there's a scene where the guys are about to go out hunting in the woods, and it's like 20 minutes. It's literally like 20 minutes of them just posing in their house with like plastic rifles they got out of a cereal box, shirtless of course. It's like, holy shit, were you even trying to make a movie? What is this? Why is so much of this just buff, shirtless men posing in a house? Nothing is happening. Nothing is progressing. As for the Bigfoot and DB Cooper elements of this film, the DB Cooper part is like a very brief like side arc, I guess. So it's revealed later in the film that the main guy who we were following in that 11-minute opening is like DB Cooper's accomplice, who was waiting for DB Cooper to jump out of the plane so they could retrieve the money, and he needed to stay in the house where all the other buff shirtless men were, and he was pretending to be like just a bro and to hang out with them, but he was actually like killing them. It was very poorly explained and very poorly told. It was just incredibly poorly done in general. There's a small action scene at the end where Bigfoot does in fact fight DB Cooper. It sucks. At the end, DB Cooper manages to kill Bigfoot, but Bigfoot like bit him or something, so DB Cooper is going to turn into Bigfoot, and at the end it's the guy from the beginning doing a little monologue about how Bigfoot is still out. It's about how like DB Cooper is still out there, no one can find him, but that's because he turned into Bigfoot, and he's just roaming the forest or something. So closing thoughts for this movie. This movie is fucking trash. It's awful. It's fucking horrendous. This is a dog shit piece of shit movie. I wouldn't really recommend it. Maybe the funniest thing about it is just like how little it was trying to be a movie. Just all the scenes that were just buff men posing in the house. It was ridiculous. Anyway, my score for this movie would be a 1 out of 10, obviously. So yeah, that's about it in terms of Bigfoot versus DB Cooper. Yeah, if you enjoyed this review, you should head down to my my Letterboxd account where you can see more of my film takes. That's I guess the end of this video. So make sure to like and subscribe for more of this epic content. Share so more people can see this epic content. Goodbye.